My name is Dr. Thenya from University of Nairobi. I'm stationed at Wangari Maathai Institute, and I'm involved in training students in the area of environment. But in addition, I'm also working very closely with Greenbelt. I'm a board member there, and I've had a long time experience, over 20 years working in community, particularly in areas of natural resources, and specifically more about on forest areas, training communities on participatory forest management, and also training them on leadership in environment, and how they can become agent of change within the environment, and be able to give hope in terms of repairing environments that have been degraded. And also the university are training as much as possible to give students experiential learning, to go out to the communities, work with the citizens, and get a feel about the problem that confront the citizens, and how those problems can be solved, and how they themselves can be agent of change wherever they go in terms of giving positive messages. We work with the communities at different levels. Specifically, if I go back to the question you asked about Community Forest Association, this is a paradigm that started taking place in early 2000. And the whole aim was to get more stakeholders involved in forest management. And what done over the years is to go help communities to come together and be able to look after the resource, and become the agent within the community that educate other people in terms of how they need to see the importance of the forest, how they need to look after the forest, how they need to help in management, how they need to help in tree planting, how they need to help in terms of managing grazing, and managing things like illegal charcoal burning and timber harvesting. And what I've seen over the years is that it's not necessarily a question about I've got this level of education. The important thing is that the person who is trained is able to understand the concept, and using that particular concept, they can actually be able to change a number of people within the community, and those people then become the beacon of hope that keep on helping to change the other people. And often what you've realized that as we do this particular work, people are very keen to refer back to people who have been very successful in terms of advocate for environmental change and being agent of change. You look here internally, Wangari Maathai has been a major beacon of hope, and people see a lot of hope in terms of, being like them. And I've seen many, community people who actually want to emulate her and become the agent of change. And back at the university, then what we also want to do is actually see what can be able to change students who can actually be able to have the mentorship and become the change agent that are able to work with community, so that when you see the community groups, whether in the forest, in the wildlife, they're able to work with them in terms of giving messages of hope, and in terms of helping to change in terms of ecosystem. So there are many groups that have been trained all over the country, and in terms of forest management, and we've been able to see change. And they're important as beacons of hope for the next generation. They might not understand the dynamic of ecological dynamics within the forest ecosystem, but they do understand that ecosystem needs to be kept functioning, that ecosystem needs to be kept in a good, conserved way, and that need to be used right in a sustainable way. There are quite a number of initiatives within the country, I'll actually say, in different sectors of ecosystem where I've been involved, and I see a lot of hope, and that have been very successful. And I think Thuita Forest along the Nakuru-Nairobi highway is one very good example. Because when you started working with the communities, those early days, the level of forest destruction was quite high. But with time, they've been able to come together, they've been able to form a very cohesive group, and they've actually been able to be a reference point for many associations when they want to form forest conservation groups. And And many people have been trained, they've been able to change the scenario, they've been able to change the discussion. I will actually say up to today is an important forest in terms of reference, in terms of functioning community group. If you go to Mount Kenya, I've worked in Upper Imenti, and the community have been very successful in terms of ensuring that the forest management takes a very good shape. And with or without the resources, they're able to wake up and do the patrols and be able to do the work. And those are the kind of change agents that will be very keen about, that they be helped to be able to train more to go to the next level. Because if you look at the issues about Kirita and Upper Imenti, many forest associations would always go there to be trained to see how they do things, whether they have money or they don't have money, how do they plan their work, what makes them keep on going. When students come to the university, they come to be trained on a particular program, whether it's in botany, in geography, in sociology. And once they acquire the skills, the skills are not necessarily related to the problem that confront the communities where they come from or where they're likely to go and work. And over the years, you realize the disconnect between the communities and the people who are trained. And I remember the late Professor Wangari Maathai would mention many times that the people would come to Glenbert would actually see clearly there was a clear disconnect between what they trained for and what went out into the field. And what you've done over the time is to take the same student that you're training at the university and expose them to the problem that confront the society. And that's what we refer to experiential learning. Go work with them, try to solve the problem the way that they see the problem, and try to get a solution with them. We do that by taking out students either on a short time on a day trip to go see the community and what problem they're confronting them. And this could be in the urban areas, it might be in the rural areas. And how do they solve that particular problem? So that as they get trained, then they understand what are the problems are confronting the society and what kind of solutions do the community see in that particular problem, and how can the student in their training be able to seek for a common solution. At the times the students go and stay in the community for a longer period of time, so they get to see every day what they do, what challenges they confront them, and that way then they're able to learn how to solve the problem that confront the society, particularly the ones that can be solved with the resources they have and the knowledge they have. And that way then you give them a positive hope of being able to go over the problem they have. And that way we've been able to see a change, because some students maybe have never seen the issue about soil that is not able to support crops and what the farmers try to do with it. They have never seen farmers who have to cut trees to cater for their livelihood, but they still need to keep the farms in a forested way. And how do they balance between their livelihood and the needs for the environment? And it's proven to be very effective in terms of exposing the student to the problem that confront the society, because then we'll not be able to solve those particular problems by purely training students in our laboratory, in our classroom. We need to expose them to go out to the field. The agency of change is important because the future generation very much depends on the current generation. And we can look at the effort of the past environmental heroes. People like Wangari Maathai, people like Ken Saro-Wiwa from Nigeria, and look at what effort they have done and capitalize on this one, learn from their efforts, learn from the activity they were involved in, to be able to create the next generation of change and inform them that change does not happen overnight. It requires effort, it requires perseverance. But the most important thing is that we need to ingrain a positive message, a positive effort in the next change agents so that they sustain a positive, so that they are not discouraged, they are not intimidated, and that they are able to carry the positive messages. And once we do that to the upcoming generation, we shall refer to the next generation of change agents, then they'll be able to carry this message to the future. And how do we do that? We need to perceive this training as being possible to happen at the grassroots for those who are not in the formal training. And those in the formal training, we also need to train them on to carry positive messages of environmental repair, and that is possible to repair the environment, just like we have learned from the past environmental healers. And the very important thing that we actually need to ingrain in this particular training is holistic training, interdisciplinary training, transdisciplinary training, so that we create holistic change agents. Those who understand natural sciences, those who understand social sciences, those who understand economics, and who understand how community works, and who understand how the government works. Once we do that, then we all are likely to benefit from the effect of the change agents who continue to give hope to the future, and they become the beacon of hope. Thank you.